better luck tomorrow for the New Orleans Saints as they officially report to camp. And I got a few things. Well, first off here, let's give you a little bit of the schedule here because you got a couple walkthrough days, Jake, on Wednesday and Thursday, just jerseys. I know. You can't help but talk about modern camp to an old football player and have them suck their teeth and kind of just like lament the lost toughness of the current generation.
It ain't even like lost toughness; it's bitterness.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh,
that is fair. So a couple walkthrough days on Wednesday and Thursday, then Shells on Friday, Shells on Saturday, which will be the first practice open to the public. However, all tickets are already reserved. They're sold out on NewOrleansSaints.com. The tickets are free, but there have to be some available. First public practice on Saturday, and then Monday and Tuesday, your first padded practices kick in. Still spots available. If you're interested in going, head over to NewOrleansSaints.com, and you can reserve those tickets. But yes, as we sit here at the beginning of camp, I've been doing a lot of Saints reading, trying to identify some areas in which the Saints we're going to be watching, where they can improve. And I've been relying a lot on Nick Underhill, NewOrleans.football, Luke Johnson at NOLA.com, or just some of the people that I've been reading put together this list. And I found in one of Nick's recent pieces, I found a very interesting number, a very clear area, Jake, in which Jameis Winston can and needs to improve. And that would be that last year he held on the ball for quite a long time. Now, we know that these stats are all better. And Nick goes on to talk about how, kind of ironically, if you just box score Jameis Winston from last year, it's like, okay, it was really damn good. The film shows that while it was good, it maybe wasn't as good as some of just the flat-out box score stats end up looking. But maybe one of the biggest areas that he needs to improve, he had an average time to throw of 3.09 seconds last year. And to give you some context there, only Jalen Hurts at 3.19. So just 1/10 longer, but only Jalen Hurts held on to the ball longer of any NFL quarterback. And so
at least he had that long to hold on to it with his offensive line.
Good job by the
I bet
offensive
if you
line.
looked at Sir Joseph's, it was pretty 1.79.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe Burrow, absolutely. I mean, we just talked about it yesterday. Ironically, by the way, the quarterback tier list gave everybody, not just us, a full day of programming. I mean, you saw it all over ESPN.
Still, literally right now, RC is going after somebody on Get Up.
Well, it's the guy who was like, I think Lamar Jackson would 12 MVPs and he'll never be tier
we
one.
did read that. You're right.
Little salty D coordinator. Or so, again, maybe somebody that had success against him. But the thing about Jameis is, though, when he did get rid of the ball, and this kind of makes sense because it means he had a solid read, on throws under 2.5 seconds, passer rating 135. Throws taking more than 2.5, passer rating 80.1. Now, Jake, answer me this. When you think about Jameis Winston last year, holding on to the ball, how much of that are you attributing to a wide receiver group that was, not dangerous, not the most at getting open? And so with that in mind, is that the actual solution here?
Well, there could be some of that. I think you can take a look at the positions and the intermediate routes and tight end position and say, okay, well, they got to have things that get the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker. Now you've got one of the best pass-catching running backs, maybe the best in all of football, so you have to use him to your advantage as well. So last year what Jameis did is highly impressive because of who he did it with. But on the same side of things, if he doesn't do it this year with a revamped offense around him, there's going to be even more criticism than probably there would be. Like last year, it's like, man, you're throwing to guys that were undrafted free agents that are supposed to be your number one receiver. Well, now you're going to have Michael Thomas back, hopefully. Yeah. You're going to have a one in Chris Olave. You're going to have an all-pro type player in Jarvis Landry. You're going to have those weapons that we talked about. And now that one's going to be your four this year. So there's not going to be any built-in excuses for Jameis. Like, I can give him some leeway last year just because of who he was throwing to. But your offensive line, I think, was too good last year. I still think it's going to be good this year, good enough to be able to not hold on to the football. So this year right now is going to be set up for him. That's why everybody we talked to, when we were in Atlanta and we'd have somebody sit down and we're like, talk about Saints, they'd be like, Jameis, it's all on Jameis. Every person that sat down. Now, there's a lot of Falcons people that covered the Falcons there, obviously being in Atlanta, but there's not going to be any excuses for him not to be successful this year.
No, and I think you hit another one. It's interesting because I didn't actually include this in my notes, but Nick did in his article about areas in which Jameis can improve, and one of them is involving Alvin Kamara in the passing game, because Jameis has traditionally been someone who does not check down. I mean, even last year, a year in which he felt throttled a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And there's another side point about Jameis, right? How can he play free and dangerous without being too dangerous? Like, it's a very interesting tightrope that he's going to attempt to walk. But, Jake, I want to say even with feeling a lot more check downing last year, he still had an average depth of target at like 8 or 9 yards compared to Drew Brees' final year where it was like at 6 yards, right?
Yeah.
So he does not traditionally throw to the running back out of the backfield. And when you're talking about Alvin Kamara, you just cannot ignore that, right? You would be taking a massive element of attack out of the offensive game plan. So another area Winston needs to hit on. But I kind of like what you set up, Jake, which is the narrative challenge here, or the life challenge for Jameis Winston. And as we prepare to talk LSU as well, I find it very similar to what Jaden Daniels and Miles Brennan are going through. Their entire lives, their entire careers have been leading up to this moment, right? This is your one final chance to prove your worth if you're Jameis Winston, to prove you are worthy of being a number one pick, to prove you're worthy and capable of being a consistent NFL starter. Maybe even to prove that you're capable of being a top-tier guy, of being a Pro Bowler, like someone that could live there. And I think he actually does have a Pro Bowl to his name, but someone, again, who could live there consistently. Because now, like Jalen Hurts in Philly or Tua down in Miami, you have a stable situation, you have good weapons around you, and so now the ball is in your court. And if you succeed, the rewards will be great. Look what people are getting paid out here, okay? Jameis is still young enough. He's on a 2-year deal. Kyler Murray just got $46.5 million, and that's a man who they don't even trust to study tape. We'll get into that a bit later. So if Jameis can go out there and do it, he will be handsomely rewarded. Now it's just time to do it. And Danny, he's going to be rocking the cornrows while he does, dude. And I think they look actually pretty damn clean, dude. Although I liked Afro Jameis, I like the kind of focus and predatory look of cornrow Jameis, sleek, like a shark ready to take out the NFC South.
So another point I wanted to make, I mean, and I think, T, you've made this plenty of times before, but also the offensive line, when I look at who he has protecting him, I can understand, like, wanting to hold on to the football as well and look for a deep play, because you have 4 first-rounders and a second-rounder going to be on that offensive line by the end of the year. Like, I truly believe Trevor Penning is going to, at some point, be a starter. So you're going to have a first-rounder at left tackle, left guard, right tackle, and a very high second-rounder at center.
Yeah.
So I can't understand him knowing that he probably does have more time than most quarterbacks, but also that can't change his mindset. He's got to know that there is still a rhyme or reason. You're supposed to read the coverages, get the ball out of your hands, because when you do hold on to it, obviously that's going to be difficult for everyone involved. And so that is something he needs to work on. But again, even with the offensive line, I sit here and I look at every single position, and we'll see what happens with Alvin Kamara. But outside of tight end, they've got a game changer at every position on the offense.
Yeah, it's exactly, man. But again, quarterback is the queen in chess. It is by far worth the most. It has the biggest impact on the game, and it'll be. And look, in terms of getting rid of the ball, I do have to think that a healthy Mike Thomas and a guy like Jarvis Landry, I mean, just has to help immensely. Because now also you can't, like, one of the reasons why he was maybe ignoring Alvin Kamara at times last year too, Jake, is because that's who the defense was able to focus on. Rare is it that you're double teaming a back out of the backfield, but like that's what teams were able to do due to a lack of threat elsewhere. Obviously, we don't think they'll be able to do that now. So that's kind of the Jameis thing on this. When we get back, I want to talk about Marshawn Lattimore, who has a massive year ahead of him. Wait till you hear about the guys he's going to be going up against. I want to talk a bit about Chris Olave, Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael. Keep it locked here on OTB.